All right. Oh, all righty, folks. Good morning. All right. So, continue with the mimer, the Hasidic discourse. Um, so the connection of the taking the four species, bringing them in, and in the sukkah is bringing further the idea of in sukkahs in transcendence you should dwell. So you're bringing it and internalizing it. And the greatest way to internalize anything in life is through das, knowledge, as we translate it, because it means an idea that you connect deeply, intimately with, that you connect with. Right? The teachings that we learn here doesn't mean we connect with it profoundly, deeply. We may, you know, oh, I get it. Okay, nice idea. Um, but that doesn't mean we sense the realness of it. Actually, you know where das takes place mostly, connection, is not so much in teaching and not I wouldn't say necessarily in the living of it, which is of course a fabringen. So last night we had a fabringen in our sukkah in our home, and it was very geschmack. Um, and ideas in a fabringen become something in a fabringen. An idea becomes something that becomes more, I don't know, real, becomes more visceral. Because in a fabringen, you sing a melody, which gives you time to meditate and think more deeply. It's more conversation, um, others sharing. Actually, one of the guys shared on how he had depression issues and how Judaism and the teachings of Torah, really got him out of it. It's the time you're more vulnerable, so you could share something like that. Generally, people don't share those kind of things, but if I bring in, you're more vulnerable, you're more open. They shared. So that's the idea of uh, of das to connect more deeply. So, in other words, to bring it to heart, that which is transcendent. So you're taking, as we explained, Sukkah itself is transcendent. You're drawing now from with the lulav all directions, and then shaking outwardly, and then bringing it into your heart to internalize. So this is also the connection of the unity that is found in a sukkah, that it's fitting that all 15 million Jews of the world should sit under one rooftop of a sukkah. That makif, that transcendent, encompassing, divine light, life of God should encompass the entirety of the Jewish people, as it did originally for the 40 years in the desert, which we commemorate. Sukkahs, for the 40 years in the desert, that God protected with the clouds of glory the Jewish people. All levels, from the leaders, a transcendent cloud that protected the Jewish people, protected the leaders, the all the way down to those who were wood choppers and water carriers. Right. So this sukkah that is, all-encompassing to include everyone, and we include everyone in a manner, because the way you dwell in a sukkah is the way you live in your home. Meaning, you're comfortable dwelling in your home, so you be comfortable dwelling in the sukkah, meaning you're taking from this transcendence and you're comfortable with it. Meaning, it penetrates you, that it's a part of you. It's an expression of you. That's what it means to be comfortable, right? Hey, I'm comfortable. Meaning, the transcendence is here now, comfortable with me. Until that even the future generations, it was beautiful, had my neighbor come with his couple of his sons. We had another that came with another that came with actually a young 15-year-old girl that, from the community. She came with her 11-year-old brother or 12-year-old brother on their own to Fabringen. Meaning, it's not enough that what we know, that the transcendence of God is something that we need to permeate ourselves with, that it's a part of me, that it's not merely remain beyond me, but it's permeates me, right? My mind, my heart. But the generations to come also, likewise, have the mitzvah of sitting in the sukkah, right? And that sitting in the sukkah is not that sitting in the sukkah isn't only you know sitting in the sukkah, but it's that it should take us through and through, permeate us, invigorate us from within. So much so that we feel it in our mayachadas, front lobe of the brain, that we feel that sense, feel it, feeling is in the heart, but feel it in the mind connection. And that needs to be for 7 days, because Sukkot is a 7-day celebration, which 7 is the cycle the weekly cycle, um, which a cycle is the way things are connected with each other. Why there's 7 days of the week? Because there's 70 divine emotions that evolved one into the next, that the cause and effect, one to the next. Das vest itself, right? When you vest yourself in something, you cause something. And you vest your energy and, and pick up the phone, your power of your arm is vested within the phone, that it got raised up, right? Got raised up. That's the idea of cause and effect. So in the 10 divine attributes, intelligence causes emotions, right? As it is in us, because that's the way it is above. Chachma vests itself in Bina. Bina and Chachma together vest himself in Das. And Das vests itself in the 7 emotions. And each emotion vests itself in another emotion, causing the Hishtalshalus, the linkage, that it comes down to the lowest level, which is Malchus. Right? Malchus, which is royalty, which is in us, the quality of Malchus is in us, of royalty in us, is speech and action. That we just do what we got to do, but it's permeated with das, with awareness, with knowledge, with connection. So it's got to durchnemen, permeate, yes, in all of the powers of our soul, to even the power just of action. Action is a very simplistic form of expression, right? Pick up your hand. That's an act, right? I mean, it's a simple act, right? Just pick up your hand. Pick up your hand, stretch your arm, and, be charitable. That's an action. That is the least power of the individual, not the least of value and importance, but the least in, talking is a lot more complicated than moving your arm and doing something with your arm. Thinking, is more complicated, if you will. So our actions should be so, actions that don't have to express any intelligence or any sign of connection. But our actions should be in such a way that you see in the act connection. You see in the act a connection to something greater than self. That's quite a statement. Until we come to Shmini Atzeres, the 8th day, which is 8 is beyond 7. And there also it should be, the transcendence should be, permeate us. Let me explain, what does it mean, transcendence to permeate? Transcendence is by definition something beyond us, right? So like, a belief in God's goodness. Give me an example. Is God good? Yes. He's only but good, right? Well, yes, but does that mean I'm that's a belief that's something's beyond us? For example, October 7th um, is a catastrophe. Yet everything that comes from God is good. So how do I take that? I take it on faith, right? I take that on faith that God is good. I don't understand. It's beyond me. That's called transcendence. It's beyond me. I don't get it. Holocaust, I don't get, right? I don't get it. That's called, and yet I believe that everything that comes from God is good. That doesn't mean it's not painful what happened October 7th. It can be very painful, but pain is, as I've said many times, if you heard from me many times, pain doesn't mean it's bad. Pain means it's painful. You know, the fact we give to a judgment to it is just because I don't want pain. It's not because it's bad. I just don't want pain. So therefore, I call it bad. But it's not, because everything comes from God is good. But that's, again, taking it on faith. Now, take that faith and now bring it into action. Well, how was that? That you're completely taken by connecting to faith and internalizing it so much that you're aware of that God is just but good. And therefore, again, it's transcendent. I don't get it. But you know what it leads me to? Action. What's the action? I danced on Simchas Torah. That means my faith became internalized. Many people on Simchas Torah 2 years ago, October 7th, October 8th, didn't dance. Our brothers are in such a terrible state. How could you dance? Right? But I danced. Chabad danced. Why? Because we took that faith and we internalized it, made it a part of my reality. It doesn't mean I understood, but I made that faith, that goodness of God, and therefore I danced. So I took something beyond me, internalized that goodness in a way that it's a part of even my actions, to my actions, which dancing is an action, that was durchgenommen, permeated with transcendence. That's very powerful.